Hi, welcome everybody. So today's class is going to be focused on building towards a peak pose. And the peak pose that I really wanted to incorporate for today's class is half moon. This is a standing balancing half moon pose. There are different variations for how to do this. Ultimately, for those who, my aim is to help you get into the balanced pose, being opened up, feeling like you've gotten some warm-ups to be standing on one leg for a bit. We'll do a variation of it against a wall too, so if you have some space hopefully to get your foot up against a wall, to help us get into the pose where we're not having to rely so heavily on getting the balance quite right. We're going to be playing with that for a while. And then for anyone who's comfortable in half moon, I'm also going to be working us towards getting us into bound half moon, which is a really fun variation. So we'll be doing some back bends to warm up our back, so that if you want to go into that bound variation, you can reach back and grab your foot while balancing. There's a lot of things going on. So, to get started, let's get centered. Come into a comfortable seated position. Bring your hands to your knees. Close your eyes. Bring your attention inwards. First, notice sounds in the room. Maybe the blowing of air or creaks, cars going by. Maybe your kids are playing in the background. Start to notice those sounds without any emotional attachment to them. Just be an observer, a peaceful observer. Now bring your attention to your body, down to the sit bones that are connected to the ground, or perhaps if you're in a kneeling position, your sit bones on top of your shins or your calves. Shin bones are connected to the ground. Whichever part of you is rounding down into the mat, whether it's your shins or your sit bones, press that down into the mat and allow the spine to lengthen upwards. Long, tall spine. Weight is shifted slightly forward. And feel all the outside edges of your skin. All over, from your face, your neck, your chest, arms, belly, back, legs. What does the air feel like where it comes into contact with your skin? Is it cold, warm? And now bring the awareness inwards to your lungs. Notice how they feel when you breathe in air, filling them up. And when you exhale, begin to deepen your breath. Lengthening the inhale and your exhale. engage Ujjayi breath. So it's almost as if you're going to clear your throat. The back of the throat just pinches slightly. And when you breathe in and out, you can hear a slight noise, almost like the roar of the ocean. You put a shell up to your ear. And that's what your breath sounds like when you have Ujjayi breath engaged. You could also think of it as opposed to, if you're going to clear your throat, when you are going to fog up a mirror, it's the same action that you use when you slightly cinch the back of the throat during your breath. And this breath is really foundational to yoga practice. This is the main type of breath that we engage while we're moving through our poses. It's very helpful with coming into deeper, more mindful breathing patterns. Feel the lungs and the ribs expand as your breath deepens. And the gentle fall on the exhale. Any thoughts drift into your mind, just gently, like a cloud, like blowing away a cloud. Release them back out into the ether. No judgment if your mind is wandering. Bring your focus back to your breath. One more deep breath in, expand all the way through the belly, ribs, chest. Hold at the top and sigh it out. Slowly crack your eyes open. Lift your gaze. And let's roll onto our backs to warm up. If you have anything resembling a strap, a belt, whether it's a belt or maybe a robe belt, you can grab that. If you have anything like a cushion or a block, we're going to do a little bit of twisting so you have something to rest your leg on. If you don't want to go deep into the twist, it's useful to have that handy as well. Alright, so rolling back. Bring your knees into your chest. See if you can wrap your arms around your knees. Hug them in. Engage the Ujjayi breath. Deep inhale and exhale. Now bring your hands to your kneecaps. Inhale and exhale. On the next inhale, we're going to push the knees out. Allow the pelvis to rock forward so the small of the back is rising off the mat. We're in an anterior pelvic tilt. Let your feet hang. It's almost as if you're trying to reach your toes down to the ground, but you're holding onto your knees. So arms are straight.
Small in the back is rounded, lifted off the mat. We're in anterior pelvis. Big inhale here. Exhale, bring the knees back in. Small the back, comes down to the mat. Now we're in a posterior pelvic tilt. Inhale, come into your anterior tilt, pushing the knees out. Exhale, bring them back in. Inhale, push out. Exhale, bring it back in. Inhale into anterior tilt. Exhale into posterior. One more time. Inhale, anterior. Exhale, posterior. Nice. Release the left leg down to the ground. Hug in your right knee. Start to bring the knee a little bit closer towards the armpit. Getting a bit of a stretch into your right hip. Circle the knee around in one direction and the other. Now bring your leg into a 90-degree angle. Flex both feet. Interlace the fingers of your hands. Bring your hands down to your right hip. This is where you may want to place a block or a cushion down over to your left side because we're going to come into a gentle twist. All right, hands are at your hip. Inhale, exhale, bring the knee slightly over to the left, not all the way, just a bit. And bring it back. Inhale, exhale, bring it slightly over. Inhale, back to center. Inhale and exhale, bring it over. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, bring it over. Inhale, back to center. And exhale for this day. Bring the knee down to touch. Hands are at the hip. Both feet are actively flexed. Bring the left hand down to your left knee. You can use that to press down on the knee if that feels okay for you. And trace your right hand up your right side to your shoulder. And now roll your elbow in one direction, big circles. Opening up shoulder muscles, all those tendons and ligaments. Other direction. Making circles with your elbow. And now reach your arm overhead, directly overhead. Stretch your arm and your fingers way up above you and then press down through your left heel so your foot and your hand are reaching in opposite directions. Feeling the right side opening up. And now flip your palm up and trace the back of the hand very slowly out to the side, being mindful of your shoulder. If you have any shoulder injuries, you can skip this part. We're in the twist. And now sweep the arm back up overhead, coming over to your left side. Bring your left knee underneath the right. You're in a fetal position, and then roll both knees up to center. Back into Apanasana. Bring your block or your whatever you have handy over to the right side. We're going to twist now other side. So right leg extends, hug in your left knee. Pressing through the right heel. Finding length in the right leg as you're bringing your left knee up and in. And let's make circles with your knee in one direction. and reverse it. Alright, leg comes to a 90-degree angle. Interlace the fingers, hands go to the left hip. Inhale. Exhale, bring the knees slightly over to the right. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, bring it over. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, bring it over. Inhale, center. Exhale, bring it over. Inhale, center. Exhale for the stay. Right hand comes to left knee. Left hand traces up left side up to the shoulder. And we're going to make circles with our left elbow. Opening up that shoulder. Reverse the direction. And now extend your left arm high above you. Opening, you feel the opening in those intercostal muscles in between the rib cage, your rib bones. Flexing through your right foot, pressing that heel down, reaching in opposite directions, finding lots of length in your body. Flip your palm upwards, trace the back of the hand, bring the hand out to your side, getting into a little bit more of an intense twist. Don't worry about the left shoulder needing to touch the ground. We're not trying to get into this super deep at this point. It's early on, we're warming up. Sweeping your arm up overhead to the right side, coming into a fetal position. And rolling those knees to your back. From here, plant your feet into Ardha Shavasana. You should be able to touch your back of your heels. So if your feet are way out, far away, I want you to bring them in really close to your glute muscles, to your hips. We're going to do some bridge rolls here. So pressing down through the palms, lifting the hips up slightly, coming into bridge. Inhale, exhale, bring it back down. Inhale, lift up, press through your heels. Exhale, down. Inhale, press through the heels, lift the hips up. Exhale, down. Now we're going to pair arm movements as we go up. So inhale, bring the arms overhead, hips lift up. Exhale, bring the arms back down. Inhale, up and overhead. Exhale, back down. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, back down. Inhale, arms overhead. Let's stay here for a few breaths. Pressing through your heels to lift the hips up. Keep the hips up. Bring the arms back down. If you'd like, you can clasp the hands underneath. Rocking the shoulders together, pressing up for a deeper arch. Continue to breathe. Inhale. One more inhale. Press, press, up, 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 up. And exhale, release everything down. Nice job. Bring the legs long. And we're going to do, this is a part of Margot Sorum's spinal floss series that I'm doing right now. So what we're going to do is a little bit of chugging. This is going to stimulate the vagus nerve, which helps us to essentially calm down, relax. So I want you to ground your heels down into the ground. So you should have your feet flexed, heels are pressing down, down, down. Put a slight bend into your knees. So you're touching the ground right at your glutes and your heels. From here, you start to point the toes, flex the feet. Point the toes, flex the feet. As you point, notice how your whole spine and your body moves down the mat a bit, and when you flex, it comes back up. When you start to increase this motion, you're essentially chugging, and you let the rest of your body go along for the ride. And it's really critical, again, that your knees are slightly bent and you've got a nice, strong, firm grip with the back of the heels with the ground. And once you get into this and you just kind of relax everything, you can just feel like you're going on this little ride. Keep chugging. And let that go. Allow the legs to relax out. Feet flip out to either side in a brief Shavasana. And if you have your strap handy, this is a good time to grab it. We're going to come into Supta Padangusthasana. So this is going to get some great stretching in the hamstrings and in the hips. I like to do this one often. So first, let's bring both feet into Ardha Shavasana. So plant both feet onto the mat. We're going to start on the right side, lifting your right leg up towards the sky. If you have your strap, this is when we want to take the strap and we're going to place it on the ball of the foot. And then press your foot up towards the sky. So whether or not you have a strap, you want to have your right foot flexed. So it's the heel of the foot that's really pressing directly upwards. And now we're going to release our left foot all the way down. Let's keep that left leg engaged. So both feet are flexed here. And from here, I want you to, don't worry about getting into the deep stretch quite yet. You can bring your leg down slightly and come into that, we were doing that anterior and posterior tilt. Come into your anterior tilt. So your back, the small of your back lifts off the ground a little bit more when you're in that tilt. It's the opposite of tucking your pelvis. Keeping that anterior tilt, and if you don't have a strap, you can wrap your hands around the back of your thigh or however high up feels comfortable for you. So you can use that to bring your leg in. If you have a strap, grab either side of the strap. Keeping that anterior tilt, start to bring the leg in towards your chest and until you get to your stopping point. If you keep that anterior tilt, you're staying in a really good alignment here, and you're going to notice that you can't go as far as you normally do. And that's okay. We're getting great stretch here through your hamstring. That's the whole point of this. Breathe through it. Now notice if you totally let go of the anterior tilt in the pelvis and you allow to come into posterior tilt, but your low back comes down to the ground, then you can stretch way further. So this is what Margot, who I just mentioned, she teaches this series, Margot Sorum. She calls this release valving. It's kind of like you're just letting go of the good alignment and structure, and you're just kind of getting into the pose in a sort of sloppy way. So again, coming back into anterior tilt, it's a huge difference. You can see for me, I can't come back as far, but I'm still getting a good stretch through the hamstring. Alright, from here we're going to work on opening the hips. So we're going to bring our right leg out to the right side. Again, if you don't have a strap, just you can sort of ground your elbow on the right side down into the ground, and then use that to rest your leg on your right hand. So, and then assist with the left. You know, you can hold on to your thigh so that you're not dumping into the joints and just opening without any support. Want to be really careful, don't want to injure ourselves. Bringing the right leg out to the side. Opening up through those inner hips and inner groin muscles. Engage your deep breaths, Ujjayi breath. This is a great warm-up for getting into our half moon eventually, where we're going to have the hips opening up. All right, inhale your leg back to center. Release everything. Let's do a little bit of chugging. So heels, back of heels, ground down into your mat. Knees come slightly off. Everything else relaxes. Point and flex the toes. Increase the speed. Allow your chin is like, you're like a bobblehead here. So everything needs to relax in your chin, your head, and your whole, let your head go along for the ride. And release that, come into stillness. Plant the feet, Ardha Shavasana. Okay, let's lift the left heel up towards the sky. If you have a strap, you can wrap that around the ball of the foot. And we're going to release our right foot down to the ground, stretching out through the right side, pressing through both heels so both feet are flexed here. All right, from here, let your leg on the left side come down a little bit so you can get into your anterior tilt of the pelvis. Low back should be lifted off the mat slightly. And now you can start to bring the leg back towards your chest to stretch that hamstring. And you're probably, again, you're not going to be able to bring the leg back as far as you're used to because we have this anterior tilt in place. And the nice thing about this is that the difference between this and like the quote release valve version is you're still getting the same good stretch in your hamstring, but you're not at risk of overstretching your tendons and your ligaments and all the things in your hip, which are really important. So this is how you can avoid, getting sprains or strains, especially when we're not quite warmed up yet. Engage your Ujjayi breath. Deep inhales and exhales. And then we're going to open out to the left side. Well, I always have to find a position I can do that here in this small space. There we go. Be kind to your joints. Don't go into it too deeply early on. We have a culture in our country that we tend to push ourselves pretty hard. We're very used to having a lot of inner competition with ourselves. particularly those of us who are athletes or who are very career driven, or who, just want to be a good person in the world. Yoga is a safe place for you to drop that. See if you can practice letting go of your own expectations. Notice when you are being hard on yourself. Notice when you are worried or judging yourself for not getting into a pose as deep as you would like, or if you fall out of balance in a balancing pose, or you want to push yourself to get into a more advanced variation of a pose. Can you let go of those expectations? Recognize that that is part of your inner landscape of your mind, and just let yourself observe where you're at without any judgment. Allow yourself instead to go deeply into that place where you're at and enjoy it. Inhale, bring the leg back up, center. Release your leg back down. And one more time with our chugging. Awesome, release that. Bring both legs into your chest. Hug them in. Cross your ankles. Start to roll upwards. Maybe you want to massage your spine a little bit. That feels good. And coming all the way up. Okay, let's come onto all fours. I'm going to grab a little bit of water for a sec. Okay. So, coming onto all fours, your knees are hip width apart. Shoulders are over your wrists. If you have tricky wrists like I do, that don't like all that pressure, you can come onto your fists. I'm just going to start with some simple cat-cow. This is a real staple in yoga. It feels so good. We're going to inhale, drop the belly, come into our anterior tilt here of the pelvis. Gaze comes up. We're not craning the neck, so we're not bringing the chin all the way up. It's just, you want to have a nice long spine in the back. So gaze is just lifting slightly. Use your eyes to bring your gaze upward as opposed to craning your neck and bringing your whole head back. So eyes lift up, long neck, dropping that belly. Inhale and exhale. Begin to tuck your pelvis into a posterior position, rounding through the spine, dropping your head down, pushing down through your hands or your fists, dropping your gaze. Bring your gaze to your navel, sucking the belly up and towards the spine, so bringing it back. And inhale, start at the pelvis, anterior tilt, drop the belly, chest comes through, really dropping your heart down towards the ground, long neck here. Gaze comes forward and slightly up, not craning your neck. And starting again with this we're going, the movement starts here at the pelvis. So tucking your pelvis, rounding through the mid-spine, pressing down through your palms or your fists, and then dropping the head. Bringing your belly up and in, and other way, back into cow. Anterior tilt the pelvis, drop your belly, drop the chest through, long neck, gaze comes up. Coming back into our cat, tuck your pelvis, round the spine, pressing down, drop your head. Belly comes in and up. Keep rolling through this slowly, noticing each part of the movement and how it's rippling and rolling through from your hips, eventually coming to your head. Pairing this with your breath. Inhale on your cow, exhale on your cat. And coming to a neutral spine. All right, we're gonna press our right heel back. Get a bit of a calf stretch here. And now lifting that foot off the ground. Notice if your hips are turning out to the side, we're going to keep your hips squared down towards the mat. So drop that right hip down so it's level with your left hip. You can check, take a look. A good way to notice that is what's your leg doing? Is it turning out, your foot turning out to the side? Your toes should be pointed down towards the mat. Inhale, bring your left hand forward, so opposite arm. Inhale, stretching in opposite directions. Exhale, bring elbow and knee to touch. Inhale, extend out. Flex through your foot. And exhale, bring your elbow and knee to touch. Inhale, extend out. Exhale, bring it into touch. Inhale, extend out. Exhale, into touch. And let's stay in this extended pose. Bend your knee, bringing that foot towards the glute, and start to reach your left arm back. See if you can grab, if you have a strap, you could try to wrap this around your foot. So this is when we eventually are in half moon. If you want to go for the bound half moon variation, this is the shape that you'll be in. But you'll be balancing on one leg, standing up. Press your foot into your hand. See if you can get into a bit of a deeper arch here, lifting the foot up towards the sky. Use your breath here. And bring everything back out, extend it out, and release it down. Let's come into a child's pose. We just did a lot of work. Forehead comes to mat. Maybe roll around from side to side. Coming back to all fours. Bringing your knees again underneath hips. All right, other side. Pressing your left heel back, getting a nice stretch through your calf. Continue to engage your Ujjayi breath. All right, lifting your back heel off the ground, squaring your hips, so drop your left hip down, check your foot. See if your toes are pointing down towards the mat. Lifting right arm up. Extending through either side, really reaching out with your right hand, pressing through left heel. Inhale, exhale, bring shoulder, knee to touch. Inhale, extend everything back out, press through that heel, flexing the foot. Exhale, bring it together to touch. Inhale, extension. Exhale, bring it in. Inhale, extension. Exhale to touch. Inhale, extending. Exhale, bring it in to touch. Inhale, hold your extension. Breathing here. And coming into that bound position, bending your left knee, reaching around to the right side, grabbing the inside of your left foot. Once you make that connection, press your left foot away into your hand. Can you rise your knee up? Lots of breath required here. Deep breathing. Can you find peace in this pose? Can you lift your knee up higher? Probably feeling a lot of sensation here. It's okay, just observe it. It's temporary. And releasing, extend everything out. And bring everything back down. Pressing into wide-legged child's pose. Bring the knees out to either side. Good job. Let's thread the needle. So in our child's pose, bring your right arm up and then thread it underneath the left arm, palm facing up. Allow your right shoulder to drop down to the ground, right cheek drops to the mat. We're in a twist here. All right, coming back to center, other side. And if you want, you can actually inhale the left arm all the way up and then thread it under. It's a nice variation to get into this pose. Left cheek touches, palm facing up on the left palm. And release, come up into your kneeling position. Inhale the arms up. And exhale them down. Clasping your hands behind you. Pressing the hands down towards your feet. Coming into a slight back bend. Chest opens up. Roll. Try to pinch your shoulders together behind you. Lifting the chin up slightly again. We're not pinching through the back of your neck. We're just opening up the front of the neck. Deep breath here. Lengthening your inhales and exhales. Bringing each hand to either side. Inhale, right arm up, reaching over to the, left arm up, reaching over to the right side. Right hand is planted next to you, providing some support. Stretching and opening up through the left side. Inhale, coming up, reaching over to the left side. Right arm comes up. Continue to engage your breath. Inhale, coming up. And let's come down to our bellies. First, coming up into Sphinx pose. Pressing through your elbows, so you're on your forearms here. Your elbows are underneath your shoulders. Forearms are parallel to one another. Fingers are spread wide. And from here, it's up to you if you want to engage your glutes. If you engage your glutes, you'll feel less sensation in your lower back in this stretch. And if you relax them, you can go a little bit deeper into this. feel anything really pinchy or nervy, come down a little bit lower and engage your glutes. We want to take care of our backs while we're doing these back bends. Nice. From here, let's come back down for a moment. We're gonna put one palm over the other. Let's rest our forehead and just roll your hips back and forth. All right, coming back into our Sphinx pose. And this time we're gonna stretch through our quad muscles. So this time I want you to take your left arm and you're gonna turn your arm so that your forearm is now parallel to the top of your mat. You're gonna bring that underneath you. So this is gonna be your support here on your left side. Your right foot is gonna bend, so bringing that foot, your knee is gonna bend, and your foot is gonna come towards your glute. And then you're gonna reach behind you, grab that foot, and pull it. See if you can grab the top of the foot. And then you can pull the foot down towards the glute for a nice stretch here. And then see if you can press through your left elbow. So we're not dumping into the left shoulder, but we're keeping, so this is a dumping motion right here. I want you to press through that elbow, pushing the shoulder up, finding length and opening in the shoulder, in the spine. We're in spinal flexion here, in this back bend. Pressing that foot down. If you want to get into this a little bit deeper, you can take your palm and swivel the fingers forward and then press down even deeper. Breathe through this stretch. Use your breath to guide you through the poses. And release your foot. Bringing the other hand back down. We're going to come back down to crocodile, one palm over the other. Forehead comes down to your hands, and then just wiggle your hips back and forth. All right, other side, coming back to your Sphinx. Swivel your right forearm so that it's parallel to the front of your mat. Walk the elbow in so it's underneath your shoulder. Left knee bends, reaching back with the left hand to grab your left foot. Grab the top of that foot. And then see if you can press down through the right elbow to lift up through your right shoulder. Working on this stretch in the quad. It's also a back bend. It's a little bit of a shoulder opener and shoulder strengthener. There's a lot going on here. Use your breath to ground you, to carry you through any intensity that you may feel. You want to swivel your fingers around towards the front to really press down through that foot to get into a deep quad stretch. You're welcome to do that. See if you can bring the gaze forward. Again, pressing down through that right elbow so we're not dumping into our right shoulder. There's a lot going on here. You're doing great. And release that down. Coming back down to our crocodile. Wiggle your hips back and forth. All right, coming into a bow pose. So we're still working on these back bends and getting into this bound position that we're going to be in half moon. So we're gonna bring both knees into flexion. So bending both knees, reaching back. This is also a great place to use a strap or a towel you could use instead of a strap, where you wrap it around the front of each foot, or the ankle, like I've done, and then you grab instead onto your strap or your towel as opposed to your ankles or the top of the foot. So I'm going to do that variation here. So once you are nice and bound here, we're going to start to lift the knees off the ground, shoulders come up, pressing feet into hands, or really stretching through those, pressing the heels and the feet out. Notice how I have, especially if you're grabbing through the ankles, I am flexing my feet and then pressing down through the ankles brings my shoulders back and I can get into this deeper. Let's release that down. We're going to come up into it one more time. I'm going to do this one without the strap. All right, flex those feet. Inhale, rise the knees up, press the feet out, lifting the shoulders off the ground. Deep inhale and exhale. One more inhale, lift as high as you can. And exhale, release everything down. Cheek comes to mat. Enjoy that sweet release. Wiggle the hips back and forth here, giving the signal for your muscles to relax. Bringing the hands underneath your shoulders, pressing up very slowly, first into all fours, neutralizing our spine before we bend it the other way. And now we can press down back into a child's pose. Come into it really slowly. Now we're going to be moving the spine into the opposite direction, countering all of our back bends with this forward fold. And let's inhale up into downward facing dog. Tucking the toes, pressing your hips nice and high. Pressing down through the palms of your hands, fingers are spread wide. Noticing how your down dog feels today. Inhale, left foot up towards the sky. Exhale, bring knee to chest. Stay in this pose for a moment. And we're going to lift the hips up high along with the ankles. So we're doing a little bit of a workout here with the abs. Pulsing up and down. Nice job. Bringing it back into three-legged dog. Knee comes back to chest, and now we're tick-tocking the knee from side to side, out to one side and to the other. Tick-tocking back and forth, getting a good ab shoulder workout here. Coming back to center, lift the hips up high, planting your foot. Nice job, low lunge. Knee comes down to the ground, untuck your toes. Bring your hands up to your knees. Press through the top of the knee on the left side and really come into your deep lunge here. We're opening through the right hip. If you want to, you can lift the arms up. All right, hands come down inside of your left foot, walking your left foot out to the edge of your mat. And we're going to come down into our lizard or dragon pose. This is a great place to have a block or something to rest yourself on if you don't want to go all the way down. See also if you can keep the left knee connected with your left shoulder. Getting deep into the hip here. Now, I want you to take your left foot, which has been angled, hopefully, up towards the front of the room, and I want you to turn it to a 45-degree angle out to the side. So, from here, out to the side, coming back down, and allow your left knee to roll out. So you're coming into the outside edge of your foot. Now come down. Totally different stretch. You should feel a lot more going on the outside of the hip this time, as opposed to the inside. It's a different variation of dragon or lizard. All right, bringing your foot back in, heel tilt it back into the center of your mat. We're going to tuck the toes, bring the knee off the ground, and we're going to come into a warrior three from here. So, blocks, having blocks handy is great. You've got those. From here, if you don't have blocks, hands come in front of you. You can create a finger tent so your fingers are up on the mat as opposed to having your palms all the way down. And then we're going to start to walk the back foot in. Walk the hands forward more. If you've got blocks, you can use those. And then start to lift the leg off the ground. Press through your left heel to straighten the leg. Bring your, essentially, we're trying to get our heel in line with our hip for that floating leg. So essentially our leg is parallel to the ground. Notice also what's going on with your hips. They should be squared towards the mat. So right hip is dropping down. Look back at your feet, at your back toes. Foot is flexed or your toes pointing down towards the ground. If they're not, angle your hip down on the right side so you can get those toes pointing down. Nice job. Maybe you play with your balance here. Bringing the hands off the ground. And slowly release the leg, bring it down next to the other leg, feet are hip width apart, coming into a forward fold. Relax here. You can grab opposite elbows with each hand. Coming into ragdoll. Hands come to hips. Inhale, coming up. Nice job. Inhale the arms up. And exhale into a slight back bend. And release that down, forward fold. Nice job. Stepping back into downward facing dog. Ujjayi breath here. All right, inhale, right leg up. Exhale, knee comes to chest. Pulsing up. Pulsing the knee up into the chest, hips go high. That ankle's coming up high. All right, coming back to center. Inhale, hips go high. Plant that right foot. Good job. Drop the back foot, back knee, untuck the toes. Rising up into a low lunge. Hands come to the right knee. And leaning deeply into this lunge. Left hips are back. Right hip is forward. Inhale, arms up. Slight back bend. And exhale, come down. We're coming into lizard. Walking the foot out to the side. Toes are pointed forward. Coming down into whatever variation feels comfortable for you. Make sure your right knee isn't splaying out to the side quite yet. See if you can connect it with your right shoulder. I'm going to use some blocks here. All right, lifting back up. Turn your right toes out, 45-degree angle, and then roll the knee out to the side. Coming onto the outside edge of your foot, and then coming back down for a different kind of a stretch, stretching through the outer part of the hip. All right. Walking yourself back up, bring the toes and the knee back in. Tuck your toes, rising up on that back knee, getting ourselves ready for our Warrior Three. So Warrior Three is essentially, it's the version of Half Moon where our hips are squared down as opposed to opening up out to the side. So it's like the untwisted version of Half Moon. So we're walking our hands out in front of us, tent your fingers, walking your back foot up, knees still bent on the right side. Now start to press through the right foot, lifting left foot off the ground, squaring your left hip down towards the ground so it's not opening out to the side. Look back behind you. Foot is flexed in the back. Are the toes pointed down towards the mat? First, getting into a good alignment here, pressing through your back heel. Spine is long. Lengthen your spine. Imagine you've got that golden thread coming out of the top of your head. It's pulling your spine longer and longer. Can you play with your balance here? Maybe lifting one set of fingers off the ground, maybe the other. If you fall out, no judgment. Breathing through this. And slowly release your left leg down to meet the right. Nice job. Coming into our ragdoll. Hands come to hips, press through the heels, long spine, press through the heels. The feet pressing down is an action that helps our torso to come up to standing. Nice job. Grab some water. We're going to get into our half moon against the wall. And then we're going to practice our freestanding half moon and then go into our cool down. All right, before we do that, let's just do a quick malasana, just to open out those hips after we did that warrior 3. So coming down into a squat pose. See if you can, it's really good here, so this is more relaxing. Grab something that you can sit on. If you can't come all the way down into it, so that you can just kind of hang out here for a moment without it being a lot of work. So maybe if you've got a cushion nearby, you can just jam that under your hips. Hands come to Anjali Mudra, and then you can use your elbows to push out through the inside of the knees to open up your hips. My hope is that if you're coming to these classes regularly, by doing malasana regularly, which again is a very, very natural pose for the human body, but us Westerners, we sit in chairs all the time and we so rarely squat that our muscles and our joints and ligaments aren't used to it. But it's a really good thing to practice on a daily basis. So I'm hoping that by doing this frequently, we can get your body to start to open up and come back into its natural function. This is actually the way that people used to, go to the bathroom. Do lots of work, just hang out in a squat position, pre-chairs. All right, awesome. Let's bring the hands down, push the hips back up, slowly rolling all the way up to standing. And let's come over to a wall. We've got a bit of space. And from here, what I want you to do is gauge kind of how far you are, so you can put your leg up and essentially with a flexed foot, be able to rest your foot on the wall. So wherever you can find that you can have your leg at that 90-degree angle and can rest on the wall, that's where your standing leg should be. So once you've got that, I know that's how far I need to be. Now, turn around so where your toes are, your heels are. So try to keep that same distance. If you have blocks handy, again, you can grab those. So first we're going to come into a warrior 3, an assisted warrior 3. And we're going to be pressing our foot back into that wall. And if you need to scooch your standing leg back while you're in it to get more of a firm grip, that's fine. Definitely if you have socks, you want to take those off so you can get a good grip at the bottom of your foot. Okay, we're going to come into a forward fold. Once you're in your forward fold, let's start with balancing on our left leg. So we're going to bring our right leg behind us. We're going to press into that wall. Looks like I need to actually move my foot forward a little bit. So that you're in that, but now you've got that really nice assist on your floating leg. So we're in warrior 3 here. Okay, coming into our half moon. We're going to turn the feet, the toes out, to 90 degrees, pointing out to the side. That's going to start to open our hips up. Now we're really going to stack the hips. So your left hand is going to be grounding on the ground. You can use touching fingers here. Again, this is where a block is like so awesome to have on hand. All right, so left hand is grounding down, lengthen through your spine, and start to open up the left hip. So bring your, right hip. Bring your right hand to right hip, peel that hip up, 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 elbows pointing up. Everything's opening out to the right side. Nice job. We're in half moon here. From here, if you want to raise your right arm up towards the sky, you can. Pressing through either heel, both heels. You're in our half moon. If you've got books or whatever you want to use instead of blocks, or you can have tented fingers, whatever you've got on hand. All right, so hopefully here you're feeling that proper alignment and what that would feel like when you're balancing. All right, let's bring the right hand back down, left foot comes down. Oh yeah, everything's like nice and tight. Let's just wiggle out our hips. Woo. Nice job. I'm gonna come into a quick malasana. For me, this is a really, really nice release. You can do the same. Good job. All right, let's try it on our other side. If you want to, you can stand up real quick also and like shake your legs out. I like doing that too, to help release from all these standing poses, like wiggle around. It really helps. Something I learned in one of my classes that I love that came out of a booty yoga tradition is doing this little like back and forth waddle. It like releases all the tension in my legs. It's awesome, but it took me a long time to get this. Okay, so we're wiggling. All right, let's go into our other side with this assisted half moon using the wall. So coming into our forward fold. This time, we're going to bring the left leg back to connect with the wall. Getting our right foot into a position so we feel like we've got a nice 90-degree angle here. All right, lifting up, long spine, pressing through that back heel. Noticing if is your right foot in the right position? Is it right underneath your hip? If not, you want to waddle and move your right foot forward or back. So you've got the ankle underneath the hip. Okay, now turning those left toes out to the side, bringing your left hand to left hip, and then use that hand to peel the hip up and open, shoulders open to the left side. Breathing, nice and deep breaths. And now, if you want to bring that hand off your hip, opening up through both shoulders, press, press, press through that back heel. And bring both hands down. Slowly bring that down. Let's take a quick break. Bringing both hips down to the ground and do a wide-legged stretch here before we do our balancing half moon. We get a little bit of rest in our legs, opening out to either side. Feet are flexed, Toes are pointed towards the ceiling. Maybe this is as far as you go. If so, if you notice you got a little hunch in your spine, bring your hands behind you. Press down through your hands to lift your spine up, elongating your spine. And then just relax into this. Maybe if you want to come forward a little bit, you can. Also, again, I'm like so glad I finally bought my own blocks. I love like stacking them up so I can just rest my forehead and like totally just chill out in this stretch. Relax into this. Find some peace. Feet are still flexed though. We keep the flex in the feet to protect your knees. All right, inhale, come back up. Crossing the legs and slowly standing up. You roll yourself up. Nice job. Okay, so preparing ourselves for half moon free balancing. If you want to stay against the wall, that's totally fine. If you want to work on that some more. And for the free balance half moon, you have the option to, once we get into the full opened up moon, if you want to try to come into the bound version. So, let me get my props in front of me. Let's start balancing on the left leg. So we're going to come first, let's come down down to a forward fold, and then we'll again, like just kind of like we were doing against the wall, come into it the same way. So let's come down into a forward fold. Ground your hands down into the ground. Bring your weight over to your left side, and then flexing the right foot, start to bring the right foot up off the ground. Bring it up higher and higher until you get to your 90-degree angle, so the leg is parallel with the ground. And now here's where we can start to roll that right foot out to the side, and right hip starts to roll and stack on top of the left. If you want to stay here and just focus on that hip stacking, that's totally fine. And if you want to start to open up through the arms, that's where we bring the right hand up, opening up through your shoulders. Check in with that back foot. Did it drop a bit? See if you can raise it up higher. All right, if you're going through for the bind, bend your knee, foot comes to the glute, start to reach behind you, grabbing the outside of that foot. Nice job. Okay. My hair is getting on my face. All right. If you fall out of it, just come back into it, nice and slow. Maybe if you're in the bound, you can lift the hand off the ground. or not. Keep playing around with this. If you fall out, just come into it nice and slow. All right, release down. Oh, nice job. Forward fold. Maybe you come down into a Malasana. Good job, everyone. All right, coming back into a forward fold. We're gonna do the other side. I'm gonna face the other way. All right. Getting yourself into position. Weight comes over to the right leg. Lifting the left leg off the ground. Toes are pointed towards the ground. Coming into that 90-degree angle. You have blocks, you can use those. Lengthen through your spine. Once you feel grounded here, then we can start to turn those left toes out. Left hip starts to stack on top of right hip. Nice job. Maybe you can open up through your shoulders. Whoops. I am having a challenging day with balance. You can play with your balance here. Some people like to bring their hands up into prayer pose. You want to go for the bound version. Grab that left foot. Maybe play with your balance in that bound position. Whoop. Take breaks, whatever feels good. Come back to your breath. And release that down. Oh, yeah. Oh, forward fold. Nice job. And let's come back. One more Malasana. Oh. And then rolling back onto your hips, cooling down here. Giving ourselves a little bit of a hip stretch. So crossing one leg over the other. All right, foot is planted on the left side. Left foot is crossed over the right foot. And then reaching behind us on the left side. Right arm hooks over left elbow. A little bit of a twist here. Releasing both hands, coming to front. Now taking your foot and bringing your left foot, bringing it further back. Seeing if you can stack one knee on top of the other. It's okay if your knee's up pretty high, if you've got tight hips, no worries. All we're trying to do is just get a bit of a hip stretch here. Can you maybe bring both hip bones, sit bones down to the ground? Maybe, can you come forward a bit into a fold? Those hips did a lot of work when we were balancing. So it's a really, really good time to stretch them out.
We tend to, in our kind of exercise culture, we stress for people who do who are runners or who are doing hard workouts, just stretch in the beginning. But actually stretching afterwards is really important too, because those muscles get really tight, and it's important to help the muscles come back into releasing and lengthening and stretching. You want dynamic muscles that are strong, but that also can lengthen and aren't in that contracted position all the time. That's where we get injuries. When our muscles are too tight and stuck in being contracted. Okay, come back up. Let's switch the legs. Planting your right foot. Right arm comes behind you, left elbow hooks to right knee. Into a twist. Press down through your right hand so you've got length in your spine. Continue to engage your ujjayi breath. All right, release the right foot, bring it back behind you a little bit more. See if you can stack the knees. Long spine here, tall spine, grounding down through each sit bones, pressing down into the mat. And then if you want to go further, walk yourself forward a bit. Stretching out either outer hip. Maybe you can come into it a little bit deeper. Awesome, walking yourself back up, uncrossing the legs. One last pose before Shavasana, coming into Happy Baby. Rolling onto our backs. Knees into chest. And bringing either your first two fingers to wrap around your big toes or grabbing the outsides of the feet. And bringing those feet up towards the sky, opening out through the hips. Rolling the tailbone back towards the ground if you can. And now squeezing and pressing down through the hands to bring your knees towards your elbows. Maybe you can rock side to side here. And releasing your feet, bringing them down into your Shavasana pose. Feet come long, as wide as your mat. Allowing the feet to roll out to either side. Hands are about half a foot away from either hip. Palms are facing up. And beginning to relax and melt into this final pose. Feeling your top of your head relaxing, the muscles in your face, your cheeks, relaxing and letting go. The whole head melting down heavy into your mat. Shoulders relaxing. Right upper arm, right forearm relaxes. Right hand, left hand, left forearm, left upper arm, collarbones, chest, belly, upper back, mid back, lower back, right hip, right quad, right shin, right foot, right calf, right thigh, right buttock, left hip, left quad, left shin, left foot, left calf, left thigh, left buttock, the whole right side of the body is relaxed, the whole left side of the body is relaxed. Everything melting down into the ground. Breath is slow and quiet. Mind comes to rest. Bring your awareness back to your chest as you expand with a big inhale. And sigh it out. Wiggle your fingers and toes. Inhale your
arms overhead. And stretch through your feet in the opposite direction, bringing length into your body. And planting both feet, rolling over onto one side into a fetal position. Allowing to rest here for a moment. Inhale, pressing yourself up into a seated position. Eyes are closed. Hands come into prayer pose, Anjali Mudra. We'll have the dogs join us for our closing. Short practice of gratitude. I want you to pick one thing in your life or in this world that brings you joy, even the most simplest joy. When you see a rainbow, smelling fresh air on a hike, your dogs. Focus on that for just a moment and fill yourself with gratitude, feeling that emanate literally within your heart space. And allow that to fill you with that same sense of joy that that brings to you. Cultivate that gratitude that this exists in your life and in this world. Let's seal our practice with one round of Om. Let's take a clearing breath. Inhale and exhale. My dog's gonna Om with us. All right, inhale for Om. Inhale. Oh no, I forgot the rest of that chant. I'm too excited by the dogs. Well, may all beings be happy and free. Love you all. Thank you. Hi, buddy. Ooh, you're muddy. A little bit of dog yoga.